Welcome back to Don't Fret Technical. Today we'll be working with nylon strings. There's a few of you left out there that don't know how to do it. I'm going to show you how. Alright, as you can see, we don't need much. We need a string winder, always helpful. Some strings, of course, although I'm not endorsed by them, it would be nice. Hint, hint. And a pair of wire cutters, except with the wire cutters, we're going to swap these out, and in its place, use a dedicated pair of toenail clippers. Yes, a dedicated set of toenail clippers. Buy one, they're cheap, and you'll love it. Let's get going. So first things first, we want to take a look at this end, and this is what I don't like. Just too many windings over here. It just makes a mess, and it takes a while for those strings to stretch out, and if you've got a snake pit in here, it's just going to take that much longer for it to settle in. So just make sure you hit the strings and then turn it, because if you're turning it, is it going too high? Will this slap me in the face? It might, but if you listen to it to begin with, no worries. And all right, as we get this part unwound, this is what I'm talking about. This is, it's not hard, people. You just need to make sure that it gets stuck under there. They got the right idea, but their technique is sloppy. So we're just going to take that out. Pull this end off here. I don't like this end so much either, but we're going to fix that. Just take this off like this. With the wound strings, just go slow. You don't want to mar the finish at all. These little windings act like a little saw blade. Save the strings, recycle those, because they do that now. Alright. Diodario Proartes. Been using these forever. Switched to the titanium a couple of years ago at the suggestion of a luthier. I like those strings. They work. I guess I'm getting old, so I go with a lighter tension. So, 6-string E. Very simple. Pull it out, just like that. Take a look at the ends. Some of these ends, like this one in particular, I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, maybe it's too fine. That looks like it. Alright, so on here, this winding on the string is a little loose, so we want to use this as the headstock, and we're going to lop that off anyway. What we want is the nice solid part down here, nice and thick. Doesn't look like it's been stretched out at all. And what we're going to do is find the hole here, go through, push it through, catch it with your fingernail so that you don't mar the finish. And now, here's the thing. This is I used to tie them like this. The downside to that is that a lot of these wound strings will mar the finish as they settle into position. I had sent my guitar out to my concert guitar to the luthier because I dropped it, and he was the kind of guy where he's like, well, I fixed them while I'm alive. And the way that he tied the wound strings is just the method I've adopted, since that guy, used to make guitars for people in Spain. I think you might know what he's talking about. Anyway, so I do a bend here. We go underneath the string, bend it back like that. We're going to put it so that it ends up right in here. So we want to find the bend right about here on the string. We're going to bend it that way. We'll lift this up a little bit, and then slide it through, and there we go. And as we tighten this up, this will get taut, and it gets caught right in there. So let's go to the other end. Alright, now I usually will put this between my legs and as I'm seated, and that way I can hold on to all of it, but for camera angles and such, it might be easier to do this. Now I like it, pretty taut. I'm going to bend this back just a little bit. Okay. Now, the way these windings are set, these are good. You want the windings to for the 5th and 4th strings to come off onto the right side, But for the 6th string, we want this to come off to this side. So I'm going to hold this here, so because I like the length. I'm going to pull this thing through, hold that taut, actually. So I got to pull through. What I'm going to do is pull it through here, and I like that length, so I'm just going to stuff that back in there. Okay, so now I have a decision to make. Which way do I want the string to roll onto the post? I want it to roll on this side, so I'm going to pull this around and have the winding go off to the opposite side. And this is the key part, right here. All you have to do is get this winding of the string underneath that loop, and then friction will take care of the rest. So as I wind it up, that string's caught underneath there now. And so, string winder, oh, wasn't paying attention. Alright, so now that I got it under there, I'm going to wind it up, making sure that the winding goes on the side that I want it to. When I'm seated, this is a little bit easier, but we'll make do. And you just hold it there and get this to... Trust me, it's a whole lot easier seated. I'll probably do the others seated, but I wanted you to see how that rolls along. And there we go. And we'll let that stretch as we go, and we'll get started on the others. All right, so here we've got one of these strings where clearly somebody didn't know how to do it, and they just rigged it the best they could. Clearly the strings didn't come off and they stayed in tune while I was practicing with this, but this has got to go. All right, you don't have to do this in this, you know, sometimes I think this is worse than driving in traffic. All right, let's see if we can get this out of here. I said we didn't need many tools. Well, I guess we need Leatherman, because this is a job for Leatherman. I really like. Oh, this is more. Alright, so that's out of there. Didn't scratch it, I don't think. Not too badly. Alright, this part, we just wind this, pull this out. We're going to recycle that. This is convenient. If it's the A string, again, we're going to find the section of this string that is a little loose, and this A string doesn't have one, so we can use either end. So as before, we go in, we pull it through, we find where we want to put our bend, we do the bend like that, slip it underneath this side here. We do not need to stick it underneath all the other strings. Don't do that. That's just a pain, because you have to remove each string to get to one string, and that's just stupid. We don't need to do that. We'll trim those off later. All right, now up here, we're just going to go in, pull it through as taut as we want it to be. Have this side. Come underneath, pull it pretty taut, and then it's going to get caught underneath in that little recess that we put it through. Part of it gets caught in that little bowl of the post. All right. There we go. That one's done. All right. Moving this one. Oh, this one looks very special. This looks like it has a knot in it. And we'll wind it down to get rid of all of these windings because noobs in nylon. All right, let's see if we can snake this out of here. I guess that's another thing that nails are good for. Oh. How many times do you need it to go through the post? This is just not how it's done, people. Alright, let's flip it over. Interior extraction. If I don't get in the light. Alright, we have the end out. One of them. Flip this over. From here I can pull it out. Alright. So all you dudes at Guitar Center, this is how you do it. I see all kinds of guitars that come my way. So you guys have had your hands on them. Alright, checking out these ends. These appear to be pretty solid, so I can go ahead and use whichever one I want. So, plug it in. Ow, that hurt. Usually these are pretty dull, but that one seems extra sharp. Okay, sort of put the bends in there to start. I'm going to bend this where I want it. Pull it over to the side, pull it, get it taut. These will cinch up a little bit, not to worry. And we go over here. And I like to position this right about 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock being straight up the headstock there. And I do that so that I can go in like this, pull it through. I can hold it here with my finger. And when I pull it back, it's really right caught already. Just like that. And all you need is just a little bit of a twist to get it started. It's caught, you can let it go. And alright, we're done with the wound strings. Now, let's get to the plain or unwound strings. I usually just go from 6 to 1, so I'll continue doing that. Looks like we have an extra special mess here on the 3rd string. So I'm going to get hit, I'll drop it down. God only knows how they have a knot and they have it caught underneath the string. Oh, wow. I bet they spent more time doing this one string than I'm going to take to change the whole thing. Oh, Lord. What was it? Alright, I don't know what the heck is going on here. This seems so much easier to start with. Let's take this one off. There we go. What have you done, sir? All right, this end. What have you done? Clearly, this string change was designed to be the one and only that this person would do with this guitar. Because if this was their guitar, they wouldn't want to have to change this. Anyway, so there we go. All right, third string. Now, these unwound, these plain strings, because they're smooth, they're going to need more than just the winding here, where it's caught underneath. There's more surface area, so the more of the string that touches each part of the string, the better it's going to stay in place. So this one we go through like before. Now you want a little extra slack because you're going to go underneath, then over the top once. And for the G string, it's a bit thicker. I use twice. And I make sure that it gets caught at this end, just like these others, but there's a little bit more holding it in there. And so like before, I'm going to pre-position this post here so that it's at about 1 o'clock. It could easily get trapped. I put it in, I pull it through. Now we're going on the other side of the string, so we want the string to wind up on this side. So we'll push through. And we'll pull through underneath and get it and trap itself underneath that loop. And wind it up. At least a couple turns to get it caught. And the string winder, well, it takes a little getting used to. It is going to be your best friend a little bit later on. And once you get used to just balancing it on the edge of the knob. So here we go with the second string, all the way down. This one's got like all of the excess string that gets wound on there. I don't know, it's crazy. All that extra string, completely unnecessary. Let's see if we can extract it. Alright, that wasn't too bad. Alright, strings. Here we go. That's the first. Here's the second. So with the second and first strings, I do 3 wraps. So through, under. So through, string goes under, over, push through once, twice, 3 times, cinch it up. I think we get a little excessive down there. This one's going to be a little short, but not too bad once you get it cinched in there. Underneath. pull it back, nice and tight. I want the windings on the G side, the third string side. So we pulled it through the opposite side. And so all right, last one. A lot of windings. A lot of windings. As the knob turns, slowly I turn, step by step. All right, here we go. Get this off of here. I find if I push up through this, I get a little bit more slack, so I can pull the rest of it out. There, good riddance. All right, once again, we go in the slot, pull it through. We go under and then over once, twice, 3 times. Cinch it tight. Come back to the other end. Now we want the string, although this position of the recess in the post is pretty close to the other side, we just won't use as many windings. So it'll go in, pull it mostly taut, and we want string winding, pull it, and underneath this. So take it out the opposite side that you want the string to wind on. And we'll pull this taut, give a couple of twists, all right? So that's in there. And I get it. You can just sort of nudge it until it behaves the way you want it to. And that'll winch on there accordingly. Okay. So, for cleanup, here are the toenail clippers dedicated for this specific purpose. These have never touched my toes. You can smell them if you want. No? No smell-o-vision, I guess, on this. Anyway, so just very simply, nip it close. I don't think you can see it from that angle. Nice and tight like that. This one had a little excess, so just close. Don't nip the string that's actually holding it in there. Just close like that. There's probably 1/8 of an inch, maybe less, that I leave there. Again, zipping it off like that. And that'll stay in there. It should be fine. Set those off to the side. These all get recycled, okay? Diodario does a great thing with TerraCycle. And if you got 2 pounds of strings, they'll send them off to you for you. And they'll be recycled. They won't be thrown away. That's a great thing. All right. So looking at this end, this one's a little bit more problematic. I usually go for the facing strings first. This is the key part because there is tension on the strings now. You want to make sure that the only thing in your cutting tool is the excess string. I've never done it, but I imagine that you know if you snap that string that's up to tension, that's going to be a problem. So be very careful. So just make sure that the only thing there is the excess string. And I again leave it short. This one's a facing one. Again, as you get closer, make sure you don't have the D string in there. And just nip it off. And I like to clip them short enough so that if there is sympathetic vibration, it's not going to touch anything. Any others that look like they're on the front, I can get in here with this second string. So that one's done. All right. Here's the D string poking out. And there it is. And one more. You know what? I bet this is pretty out of tune. So I can tune it enough. So I can connect this one too. Oh, I have the G string. I have to flip it over for that one. All right. And this G string. Yeah. And there we go. This thing is done. Now, a couple more things. I want to show you a couple of stretching techniques that I use. Let's try this out. All right. So now that all of these strings are on here, nylon strings, unlike steel strings, take a little while to stretch out. So I, sort of help things along and figure that, all right, when I play it and I play all of these frets, that it forces the strings to stretch a little bit. And so what I do is just do a little hammer-on, pull-off action, slurs for you real classical cats, on each string. And I'm just sort of working the string just up and down. And this is more of a natural thing. I've seen guys just sort of pull this thing out like they're just, stretching a rubber band so it'll snap back. And that's just not a normal part of the string. I don't think they're engineered to like be lifted up and snapped like that. So more of a natural approach. Maybe I'm superstitious. Maybe it doesn't mean anything at all. Maybe the string will withstand that kind of action. But getting the strings onto the instrument shouldn't be that hard. It's just a matter of trapping the string underneath itself on both sides, down at the bridge and as well as up at the top. So until next time, I hope this was helpful. See you next time.